Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. It is my pleasure to introduce the outgoing mayor of Southgate. I kind of find that hard to say, outgoing mayor, but when you stop and think about what Bill DeWitt has done, maybe it's time that he does deserve a well-deserved rest and rest on his laurels what he's done. I could stand up here and give you all of his bio, what he's done, been on the council in 1980, he did this, he did that, he did all these wonderful things. But I want to talk about the Bill DeWitt that I first met when my father opened up his business in Southgate in 1960. He didn't meet Bill at that early stage, but I remember my dad was very, very involved in different things in Southgate. And I remember him telling me about a man he met named Mr. Bill DeWitt. And he told me, one of the most interesting guys I met, Dave. This guy, he can talk about anything. He could tell you what to do, how to do it, and where to do it. And my dad also said, you know, he's also really a class act. It's easy to be able to run a successful business and forget about where it came from or how that happened. Believe me, in my business, I've been doing this for 45 years on television, and I have met some people who have been very, very successful, interviewed them, and they never stop telling you about it. They also never stop telling you about how great they are, or how wonderful things would be if they could do this, this, and this. I'll always remember there was a marvelous, marvelous man in Southgate named Gene Childs, who was responsible for getting the lights into Southgate City Park from old Wrigley Field. People forget that before the Dodgers, there was the LA Angels at Wrigley Field, and Mr. Childs was able to get that. He owned a big trucking company called Jet. Juanita Eugene Trucking, and he named it after his wife, and his wife worked for the city of Southgate for a number of years. I remember one time he told us, he said, you never become too big or too important to forget where you came from or to bend down and help someone who needs help. I think that fits Bill DeWitt. He is a kind, generous man. I know many of you are, you know, it's just an end of an era. He's no longer, at least I don't think you're going to run again, Bill, in 4 more years. Maybe I'm wrong here, but you know, when the great Vin Scully retired after all these years, his last words on his broadcast was, "Don't be sad because it's over. Be happy because it happened." And I think that's about the best way to look at Bill. He made a great mark in this city. I don't think Southgate would be the city that it is today if it weren't for Bill DeWitt. I don't think a lot of things would be what they are today if it wasn't for Bill DeWitt. He has done more behind the scenes and never took a bow for it, never took credit for it than any man that I know. He's a friend. He's a wonderful, wonderful human being. I wish him well, and I think we all ought to owe Bill a great deal of gratitude. I know you don't want to say Mr. Southgate, but if there was a Mr. Southgate, it would be Mr. Bill DeWitt. Bill, come on up and...
Thank you, David. You're really too kind, and it's not me, it's a team effort. The reason the city of Southgate has progressed ahead in the last number of years, it's a team effort. It's good council people, good staff members, working with the business community to keep this city moving. Now, when we go back a couple of years, when we had some corruption here in the city of Southgate, the city was having trouble making payroll because they only had about $300,000 in their account at the Bank of America. And so somehow the council was able to work hard, and with the good work of our city attorney, Mr. Salinas, was able to get the city back on its feet again. And going from $300,000 balance to today, somewhere around $14.5 million in the bank. And additional money put into reserves and different things. We're doing a little better financially, and that's a very positive thing. But it's not any one person. It's a team effort. And our city employees when we had this recession, they took a pay cut of 10%. And it was very difficult for them, for everyone, staff members, anyone in the park here, the police department, everyone took a big cut. And last year, this current year that we're just ending, we were able to be able to give a 3.9% increase 2 times and help our employees out because they stuck with us through this recession and through the difficult times. And that's a very important thing because it's really the folks out there, the 350 or so employees, whether it be in the police department, the park department, public works, administration, that are the folks that really do the work. The council just sits up there, flaps their gums, they do different things, and we try to come up with some policies that are good. And fortunately, we have a good city manager and a good city staff that keep us in the right direction. And this year that we're just ending right now, or ending the end of June, has been a good year financially for the city. Our revenues are up. See, the city is just a business. We take in tax revenue, and then we provide services. The only thing we actually sell is water, and for about 90% of the city. In the Holydale area, it's supplied by a private vendor, Golden State Water Company. But we collect sales tax, which is up now about 2% this year. Property tax is up about 4%. And so we're on the, if you look at our balance sheet, we're on a very positive position. We're very thankful for that. And we have done there's been a lot of interesting things going on in our city. And with the passage of Proposition M here recently at the election, that's going to provide additional money for streets and repairs and things of that nature, which we all know. But more importantly, the Eco Rapid Transit project, which has been kind of waiting in the wings for quite a while, has now been funded. And that means that we're going to have this rapid, I should say that very carefully, a rapid transit thing. It's a rail system that would come from downtown LA all the way out through Southgate, Downey, Paramount, Artesia, and that area, eventually, hopefully, to Orange County. But that has been now funded, and so that project will undoubtedly get started here within the next year or so with actual construction. It's the old Pacific Electric rail line called the Santa Ana Branch that goes through our city up by the Azalea facility and down all the way through Downey. That will give us about $1.3 million in benefit out of that. Are we getting some pictures on the side here? Yes. What do we have up there now? The Eco Rapid Transit. Well, that's what we're talking about. And our vice mayor, our upcoming mayor here, Maria Davila, who chairs that organization, and it's made up of representatives from all the cities along that route, from downtown LA, Vernon, Huntington Park, Southgate, Bell, Maywood. And so she's been very good at working very hard to get that system to become a reality. Because we all know the freeway system here is fairly well jammed up, and it's difficult to get around. And it should be very beneficial for people that live in this area and work in other areas, or to go downtown LA to shop. But really, we want them to stay here in our community here. The Azalea Center here has been quite a project. It's taken the City Council working very hard with our staff and the developer to, first of all, acquire the property along Firestone Boulevard, and then get the funding to be able to improve the intersection of Atlantic and Firestone. And this took quite a bit of negotiating and quite a bit of work over a period of time. We were able to put the whole thing together, and it's been very, very beneficial to us. And it, I think, has actually exceeded our expectations as far as the success of that shopping center. If those of us who've been around town know, remember that was the old Amron plant where they made concrete pipes. And they moved out, and then we're left with that vacant lot, and be able to put this new facility in here to provide a lot of jobs. And of course, a lot of that has to go, Councilman Morales here, who's with us today down here somewhere, right there. He was very much involved in being able to, with the council, being able to get that project through. And without his good help on that, I don't think it would have happened. So it's not any one person, it's a combination of a lot of folks working hard together to get this project going. And then the final thing at the Azalea Center will be the Altamed building, which is going in, and the gentleman spoke up here on that. That's going to be quite an improvement for health care in our community here. It used to be you either went to Downey Community or St. Francis, and now there'll be this option here, and I think it would be a good benefit to our community, and we wish them the best of luck. It was very good to be there when they're lifting up the concrete walls on that facility. There may be a picture of that coming up too. It is, good. I can't see them, but that's okay. We've also, in this year, we've had a new Taco Bell down at Century and Garfield. And people say, well, what do you mean a new Taco Bell? That's not a big deal. Well, it's a unique situation because in this case here, it's on a very small lot. It was very difficult to get it sized right to be able to get a new retail establishment in. And you have to understand, I'm all for retail establishments because they provide the sales tax, which pays for the park, the police, and all this stuff that we spend money on. And so we have that new Taco Bell down that just opened, and we also have a very nice restaurant across the street, Estrella Del Mar, which I've been to several times. It's a very nice Mexican restaurant down there, and it is just a beautiful facility there. And then also in Hollydale, we just this year have opened up the PWS laundry, and a lot of people say, well, what's the big deal about a coin laundry? Well, that's not exactly it. They manufacture and sell laundry equipment. So that brings in a lot of sales tax to our city. And that's where the old drugstore was at Main and Garfield. And that's been a big thing for our city. PWS was set up originally in 1968, and they're the largest distributor of commercial laundry equipment in the country. This year, we also had, and I think my colleague Gil Hurtado was very much in favor of Aldi Foods over in where the Gonzales Chrysler used to be over on Garfield. And that's a new store there. And we also have a new dental office at Firestone in San Antonio, which is just being finished right now. And that facility is occupying a lot. Actually, they had a dental facility there, but it's all redone now, so it's a good investment. I'd like to mention some of the business. You've heard a number of the businesses being recognized earlier. The Astro heat treating folks were very helpful with our police department here a couple of weeks ago because, as I think many of you know, we had the Baker to Vegas police run last weekend. That's a foot race, and they had about a little less than 300 teams of sworn police officers and sheriff's deputies, and they run about from up by Baker, California into Las Vegas, not on the interstate, but on the back roads. And Astro Heat Treating was able to host a fundraiser for our police department there. It was quite an event over, and a lot of people in our community are unaware of the industrial community in Southgate and the things that they do, which are very beneficial to the country, of course, obviously to themselves. They're very beneficial to the city because it provides a lot of good jobs, and I just want to do a shout out for Astro on that. We also have Malarkey Roofing, and I don't think they're here today, or if they are, I don't think they got recognized, but they are very important. They're over on Garfield, just south of Firestone, between Firestone and Southern, and they make roofing products. And they have been very helpful to the city of Southgate because they've helped us supply the city with a lot of roofing materials that they manufacture there. And they have, we had to put a new roof on the sports center right across the park here from us here. That was built in 1967, I think it was, or 68, and the roof has finally given up. And they were able to supply the material for that facility, and we're very appreciative of that effort on their part. And also the old county courthouse, which is between the police station and City Hall. Now, the city bought that from the county a number of years ago, and we're in the process of revitalizing that to be an employment center for the city of Southgate here. And so we're very appreciative of Malarkey Roofing Company. And of course, that's a company that started in 19 37, I think it was, a little before my time. And it was called Lundy Thagard Oil Company. George Thagard and Lundy, Wilbur Lundy, who was in the Rotary Club here in Southgate for many years. And they put that plant together. Now, we've also mentioned Cicero. Bimbo's right down the street here. They have a distributing facility. These are tours that I made during the year. Hughes Brothers Manufacturing over in Garfield, Technicast on Garfield, Trade Supplies, which is just on the north side of Firestone Boulevard at the freeway. And I've had the opportunity to visit a lot of the businesses in the community here, and we have a very strong business community in Southgate. I think industrially we have a vacancy rate of maybe 1.5–2%, and so that means the properties are really in demand because Southgate's in a great location. We're close to the port, close to the airport, close to downtown LA, and a lot of businesses, they can locate out by I-15 and Rancho Cucamonga, not that area, but then it's a long drive in every day. And one of the reasons I live here in Southgate, and I'm very happy to, is because when I get up in the morning and look at the television, you see all these people driving in from Victorville, Barstow, an hour-and-a-half drive each way. I'm afraid it would cause me to drink. That's one of the reasons. But anyway, Rockview Farms over on Southern, they're the last dairy here in Southgate. We used to have Adar over at Tweedy and Atlantic. And Joe Perez Joe's around here somewhere, but he's working on trying to get that 4 acres developed. That's one of the last large vacant lots in Southgate that can be developed. I think he's working on a mixed-use project for that area. I want to mention Dave Lopez, who introduced me here. He's a gentleman that grew up in Southgate. His family's been here. And he approached me about a year ago and wanted to see if there's some way to get some recognition for his family's business, his father's business, Garfield Upholstery, which on Firestone Boulevard is now Aspire Elementary School there. And I said, well, golly, the city of Southgate's never done anything like that to recognize a business that's no longer there. And we talked and talked, and we came up with a good idea. And Dave is a very persistent individual, and he works real hard at things. I said, well, that's kind of a unique approach. And of course, I don't come up with anything by myself. I plagiarize everything. And so we went up to Pasadena and looked at the plaques they had there. We went out to Santa Monica and looked at them and said, hey, that's a good idea. And so we were able to put this package together, and we had a installation of the plaque over in front of Aspire on Firestone Boulevard a month or so ago. And it was really because of Dave Lopez approaching me and saying, is this something we can do? It would have been easy to say, oh, no, we can't do that. But now it turns out that we're going to work now to put a plaque in front of the Southeast High School where the old General Motors plant was, and that would be to give a recognition to General Motors and the United Auto Workers. And then eventually, when the Community College District, Los Angeles Community College District, builds the new facility on the north side of Firestone at Santa Fe, that will be able to maybe give some recognition to Firestone Tire and Rubber and the United Rubber Workers of America, because they labored there for so many years, built so many tires, and of course at GM, the cars and tanks. In fact, the last tank that came off the assembly line at the end of the Second World War just drove down Tweedy Boulevard into our park. And then it sat there for many years until a previous city treasurer here in the city of South, I think his name was Robles, gave that tank away to somebody else. And then we were able to get a new tank delivered from Fort Irwin out in the desert here, and that's the tank that's now down General Wallace. We were able to arrange with General Wallace, who is the commanding general at Fort Irwin, and he delivered it down here to us a number of years ago. But that wasn't this year. As far as big events that we've had, we had this Ciclavia event, this bicycle event, and we've all seen them on the television or looked at it, and I actually rode in that. And this was quite not an inspiration, but it kind of made me aware. And we started up in Huntington Park by the In-N-Out hamburger stand there, and came all the way down Pacific Boulevard, which turns into Long Beach Boulevard, then down to Tweedy, and then into our park. And I rode this old 10-speed bicycle I had from SC when I was a student there. And I have a greater appreciation of the roughness of our streets. Because when you ride a bicycle, you get every bump hits you. Now, when we're in our car or pickup truck, you know, you got springs on the car and you got springs on the seat, you don't feel this stuff. And so I think moving ahead, the city, all these cities have some work to do on, you know, the potholes and the streets and all that. It's very important. But anyway, that was a big event here for the first time for the city of Southgate. We had a lot of people here. And then we had another event which Paul Adams in our park department was able to put together with his good staff. We had the movies in the park, and we also had an opera in the park here. And what it was it was televised from the LA Dorothy Chandler Music Center. They set up a big screen out in the park. It's the first time they've ever done that in our city, and to provide some culture to our city. And I think we all need a little culture from time to time. I surely need it. But it was a thing that our Parks Department was able to put together. We have a very effective and efficient park department. Of course, you have the one park here, which is about a little less than 100 acres, and we have the other parks. And over this last year, we opened another park, or enlarged a park, the State Street Park on Southern. And the whole thing started a number of years ago with Henry Gonzalez when we decided to try to have this walkway or park underneath the LA DWP power lines, because a lot of kids on the west side could not get to this park here because they're kind of stuck on the west side. And so I would like to thank Henry for that, because he was very instrumental in getting that going. And it started with just a walkway, a concrete walkway, not a park, but a walkway. And then eventually it evolved. We were able to get different funding from different county and state operations to build the Cesar Chavez Park, and now it's moved down to the old State Street Park, which at one time was just one little block. That's all it was. But now the idea is to be able to have more green space in the city and park activities for our young people or older people. And so eventually we'll come all the way down to Atlantic here, and also provide for a bike path through the city to the LA River, along the bike path on the LA River. Now, we've been working very hard with Speaker Rendon on this issue of parks, and he's very passionate about more parks up and down the state, and particularly within his district. And we're a little short of parks in the southeast area here. And this will enhance that and enable us to do that. So we've been working on that aspect for a number of years. Now, in the park department here, it used to be to go on a zip line, you had to get on a plane and fly to Hawaii and ride these zip lines either there or in Costa Rica or someplace wherever they have these zip lines. Now here in the city of Southgate, at our park, just across the way here, just past the sports center, we have a zip line, and you can ride it. And it's the first for the city of Southgate. In fact, I think it's the first for any of the cities in the southeast area. But it's a real good addition to our parks. We actually opened up 2 more playgrounds, one in the Hollydale Park. We had some vandalism down there, and that had to be rebuilt, and we have this new playground equipment here. And it used to be the only playground equipment, when I started here with the city in 1978, the only playground equipment, we had an old fire truck, and we had the old Army tank. And that's what you played. And there was a set of swings somewhere. But we've done a lot of improvements over the years, and it's been a real fun time. I'm trying to get my wife to go on the zip line, but she hasn't signed up for it yet. But we're working on that. Also in our park, we have this fitness center. And we all have driven down Firestone Boulevard, and you see different things. You see LA Fitness and all these things. But here in the city of Southgate, we have an excellent fitness center and a trainer in there. And it got so busy, we had to expand it and get more equipment in there. And it's become quite an asset for the city of Southgate to have this in the sports center. And this is something new in the last year or so. And I did step in there, and I lifted a few weights and everything. I don't think I did as well as I should have, but we had a good time. over in the Holiday area, and this is something else I want to give Jorge Morales a little shout out for, because he was very instrumental in this dog park idea. I hadn't given it much thought myself. I have a couple of dogs, we have a couple of dogs, but there's this concern that there's no place, because we have some ordinance that you can't have dogs in the park, you have this and that. So anyway, Jorge was able to work out very much and come up with some funding for a dog park. And this is in the, it'd be in the southwest corner of the Hollydale Park. And I think there may be a slide on there coming up and about the dogs in the park. And so it's a unique thing that we actually have in the city of Southgate, a dog park. You can take your dog there. Now, if you have a big dog and a little dog and they get into it and they have a problem, there's actually a timeout place in this dog park that you can put whoever is the offending dog in that, hold them in there for a while and let them get their minds right before you let them out. And so I thank you, Jorge, for that. And we had a family that used to walk in the park, and Alicia Estrada and the administration at City Hall made us aware of the fact that they had difficulty because they have a youngster that's wheelchair bound and had trouble getting around, and so they couldn't gain access to some areas in the park. Well, and I have to hand it to Alicia Estrada for bringing this to our attention, because then we were able to work to get that paved and get it such that there would be access for handicapped folks. And we've had a big effort in the city in the last number of years, not just this last year, but to make sure that we have the proper, take care of the sidewalks and have the curb cuts so people in wheelchairs can get around. But some of the problems are that when the city was laid out many years ago, and the fire plugs were put in and the street signs were put up and the street lights, sometimes there's not access for wheelchair-bound folks to get around. And so that's something that the city is continually working on to try to correct some of those problems, because a lot of the city was designed, the streets designed were laid out way before the Americans with Disability Act were put into effect. And so anyway, we make a lot of improvements on that. Now, also from a visual point of view, we have some 22, they call them, I didn't even know what they're called, utility cabinets around the city. And they house electrical equipment or different things for controlling signals and at train stops and different places. And we've had local artists paint those up so they look reasonable and respectable, and they add a little art to our community. And I think that's a very positive thing. And that's also done by local artists. Now, our Public Works Department, is there anyone from Public Works here? Art's here? Oh, good. Well, he has a lot on his shoulders right now because we have a lot of projects, and because our Public Works Department, our administration has come up with a lot of money from outside of the city of Southgate to do things. And now I think everyone here has been stuck on the bridge of Firestone. We're kind of widening that bridge. Art assures me this is going to be done this summer sometime, or by June or July or August, September. When is it? Coming up here. But anyway, just to put this into perspective, if you drive the 710 freeway, the only interchange in recent years that had any work done to it has been Firestone. They haven't done anything at Florence, nothing at Imperial Highway, and now Vernon is doing some stuff up at Bandini. But the city of Southgate over the years has done a lot of improvements on the access to get across the river at Firestone Boulevard. And so we're widening that bridge, and then after that's done, then there'll be a new on-ramp to southbound 710, which Public Works has worked real hard with the Caltrans folks in getting that going. Also, we have in the drawings, and this is due to our work by our Public Works Department, is a new bridge to replace the old bridge at Southern across the LA River. Now, I don't know if there's anyone in this room that remembers the old bridge, but it was severely damaged in the flood of 1939. And then on Halloween, the next day, it was a wooden bridge. It was burned down, and it was never replaced. But the city had always planned to try to replace that bridge, and now we have in the federal highway plan for the expansion of the 710 freeway a new bridge to go across at Southern. Now, it's all contingent on the freeway improvements being made, but it would be quite a benefit because right now it's very difficult at traffic hour to get east and west across town. So anyway, Public Works has worked real hard on that bridge. We've been out there, I think they've been pouring concrete and trying to get the Firestone Bridge done, and they're doing a good job on that. But eventually, we should have a new bridge across that southern, which is really a result of the Public Works Department looking ahead and coming up with different things to improve transportation. We have a water system here in the city of Southgate that dates back many years, and as our population has grown, we need more water, and so we are continually improving that. And the other thing that happens is the federal government and the state government improve water quality standards as required under the Clean Water Act of 1972, as amended. And so we've put in a new water well at over by the water tower at Santa Fe and Ardmore, that's more than $1 million deal. It's a big deal. Put in a lot of new water lines. We have a new treatment center, which we finally got going, which takes care of some of the manganese and iron oxide deposits in the groundwater over on Tweedy Boulevard down by Southeast High School. These are all projects that our Public Works Department has put together, has worked real hard on. I have a list of other things, though I can only see them here. Bicycle. We talked about the bicycle event. And because the gas tax money that the city of Southgate does to repave our streets isn't enough, we only have enough money come in and do a couple of miles a year. And so by putting together different monies for bicycle lanes and safe routes to school money, we're able to pave Gardendale Street. Of course, we happen to live on Gardendale. We didn't pave it in front of our house. I want to be clear about that. But also Alexander Street, and you see these bike trails, and we're trying to, and the overall plan is to get more people riding bicycles. But that has enabled us to be able to pave a lot of these streets and take care of the potholes and improve the streets. So it's been a plus. It's been a little controversial, I think, but the city has worked real hard on the safe routes to school. And here again, it's an issue that we have worked on real hard. And now we get to the police. I talked about the police department. Chief Randy Davis has done a good job. Our department has done a good job. It's kind of a little undermanned at this time, but they are responsible for a lot of things. They handle a lot of calls. I mentioned we had this bicycle race. I happened to be out there for it. It was good to see a lot of the people, retired folks, out there for it. And but our police department handles a lot of different things. And we have kind of a partnership with the sheriff's department because they help provide us with a helicopter from time to time and other special things that they do for us. But our police department really handles a lot of different things. And it's been an evolving thing over the many years. And I think that we have actually had, some people say it's hard to believe, a reduction in burglaries in 2016, reduced grand theft in autos in 2016. They've handled 44,000 calls for service this last year. And typically on emergency calls, they have a 3.5-minute response time. So that means if you call in about somebody robbed, or not robbed, took your trash can across the street, you may not get an immediate response on that because they take care of a lot of very important things and critical things that have to be taken care of in a very timely manner, and they do an excellent job on that. And they have received a number of awards in that. What department did I leave out here now? Oh, finance. That's right, we started with finance. Now, something happened 2 days ago that was kind of, I think, important to all of us. Because you go into City Hall and you see people lined up paying their water bills on certain days. It's very crowded. Now, the council worked very hard with our finance department to try to come up with a better way to do it. So now, and we've just instigated starting Tuesday of this week, that you can pay your water bills online. That's something new for our city. And I believe you can use a credit card also. That's something, we're kind of getting into this modern age. And it's a very important thing. Now, I'm sure there are going to be a few little glitches and things that we're going to have to work out. Mr. City Manager, are you here? You are, okay. You'll work out those problems whenever they occur. But this is something new for the city of Southgate, and it's all because we have some very good people in our finance department, our community services department, and they've worked very good to get modernized and get into the current age of doing things in a proper way. And I think that will be a big plus when you can do that, or you can automatically have them take the money out of your account. Now, you want to be careful of that, because if you take too much of your money, then there'll be nothing left. So anyway, that kind of concludes. Does anyone have any questions about the city? Did I leave anything out here? Any questions here in the front? Maria, do you have anything? Jorge, what do you have?
Great job, Bill.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions about the city or city services? Well, we look forward. The city, I think, is in very good shape. We're moving ahead, and we have a lot of fine businesses here. We have a lot of fine residents, and we work together as a team, and for the betterment of all of us, and to keep the city clean. I know Jorge's a big thing was at one point was making sure that we keep the city as clean as possible, get the trash off the streets. And this is going to be a challenge for our upcoming council, because the sanitation district may want to close the dump over on Garfield. That may mean some problems for more illegal dumping, but that's something the new council will deal with. And we're looking forward to working with them on these issues. And I thank you very much.